2021, 5:32. We'll go ahead and get started into our financial committee meeting, the most efficient and effective committee that we have. I'm going to keep saying that. So let's go ahead. Mr. Martez Hill, if you can give us roll call.
Yes, sir. Leroy Ray.
Present.
Jill Hammergren.
Present.
Audrey Martin McCoy.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much. And so next we will get the agenda approved. I hope everyone has had a chance to look at it. It should be in your agenda information, so you should be able to see that. I'm looking right now. Ms. Daniels, thank you for all that you do. I really do appreciate you having this ready for us every meeting. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Definitely want to say thank you for that. So I am good with the agenda. I just want to see if there's any, are there any comments that need to be made or any pushback on the agenda. If not, we would love to be ready to vote for that also.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Audrey. I appreciate that. Martin McCoy. Make sure I put it all the way in.
And this is Jill. I second it.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Hill, if you could do the roll call one more time for us.
Leroy Ray.
Aye.
Audrey Martin McCoy.
Aye.
Jill Hammergren.
Aye.
And did I say agenda? Thank you. I just because sometimes I get it thrown off. So now we want to approve the minutes. I think we just did the agenda. So now we want to approve the minutes. Last time I had them turned around, so I want to make sure I'm correct. So minutes from our last meeting. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review those also. So if there are no questions at this time, we would like to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from January 20th, 2021. This is Audrey Martin McCoy.
Thank you for that clarification.
And this is Jill Hammergren. I second that.
Mr. Hill?
And Leroy Ray.
Aye.
Jill Hammergren.
Aye.
Audrey Martin McCoy.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you so much. So at this time, what we would like to do is do an overview of our current fiscal year 2021 NCCA budget. We'll have Mr. Mullins, Ms. Millette, and Ms. Alfred will give us an overview of where we are and where we stand. So we'll be ready to report to the board at our next meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Ray, and Finance Committee members. A couple of things before I turn it over to Robin and Danielle. As just a reminder, our PMR 5 will be submitted Monday the 22nd. So at the next meeting of this group, you'll see some changes in the budget that's going to reflect our new PMR. Currently, we're at 2,500 students. There was a reduction because we took out 90 graduates and then some kids that were inactive. So, the last time we met, we were at over 2,600 students, but there has been a reduction, but we're still, at 2,500. And this budget, I think, is reflective on 2,373. So I think from a PMR standpoint, we're going to be fine. But you'll see those changes in the budget next month, but also in this budget, you'll see where we have spent all of our CRF funds, or most of our CRF funds. So I'll turn it over to Robin and Danielle at this time, and we'll see if this committee has any questions. Robin?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Like Mr. Mullins said, the state money is based on 2373, and we will adjust that probably next month once the PMR is finalized, approved, and DPI adjust those numbers. From a local standpoint, we projected 2460. I'm assuming that we're below range on that. So if we say the same scenario, we're 2,500, but we wanted to be kind of, proactive and be conservative. So I think all in all, our budget is pretty close. We have a few pots of money from the federal funds that will still be dropped, maybe at like 12,000 something. that is not reflected in this budget, but will be going forward probably in February once they drop it. But all in all, I think we're on target. In January, you should have remaining on average about 41% left, and we're good. We're at 43. Keeping in mind that some of the salaries accrue back to prior years, so we have some pots of money that look like they're higher than the 41, but that's because we have to accrue back the expenses. But all in all, the budget looks good based on all the changes that we've made, and being proactive from July till now. So I think the budget in itself looks amazing.
So board members, just to refresh everyone's memory, PMR stands for Principals Monthly Report. We are funded based on PMR 1 and PMR 5. The funding mechanism is established in state law, the law that established the pilot several years ago. We receive roughly $790 per student through local revenue. And so there are some similarities between the way our school is funded and other charter schools, but the two that I just mentioned regarding local revenue and how we're funded regarding PMR is actually quite different than how other charter schools are funded. You may have followed or may have heard a news report from our state school superintendent who said that North Carolina's education sector, and I believe it's just K-12, is slated to receive almost $1 billion from the legislation that former President Trump signed back in January. Those dollars aren't reflected in our current budget. So in addition to what Mr. Mullins and Ms. Millette have discussed, we should receive additional dollars. And I'm sure all of us who follow politics understand that President Biden is pressing the Congress to provide additional funding. And there's been a lot of talk about money coming specifically to education to help us push through the COVID-19 pandemic. So we can anticipate receiving additional dollars. I haven't heard much from the state with regards to what the upcoming budget will look like. Hopefully, I will have an update by this time next week, or at the latest at the next board meeting.
And as a question, those are federal dollars related to the COVID-19 pandemic issues. Are they earmarked for very specific things for which we can meet those requirements? So if the dollars are going to be appropriated similar to prior COVID-19 dollars, the appropriation is written in such a way that we have some flexibility because the dollars are assigned to schools to help us improve teaching and learning and to positively impact social emotional learning, to figure out how to continue to improve teaching and learning in a virtual environment. So Mr. Mullins or Robin, do you guys have anything to add?
No, I agree. The additional funds that are coming down the pipe now, it's more broad than it was when we had the CRF, where you had more restrictive guidelines on what you could spend those several pots of money. This is more of a broad spectrum on how to consistently, going forward, educate the kids. Which is great. The other question I have then is, do we have to use them before the end of the school year, or can they be carried over? What's sort of the regulations on that? Do you know yet? I do not know. Deadline. I'm thinking, go ahead, Martez, I'm sorry.
So I was going to say typically federal dollars are allowed to be expended over
27 months.
27 months. Yeah. So two fiscal years plus three months, I believe.
Yeah,
And what I've also seen is that a lot of those dollars come down and they ask us to spend them similar to how we're spending Title I dollars or IDEA dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, there are some restrictions.
Yeah.
Robin, please.
Excuse me. With the COVID, some of that money was slated to be expensed into December, and they ended that, and then some were actually extended to 2023. Now the PRC's 160, which is the little pots of money, they're saying we have to spend them by September 2021. So I think they're wanting you to utilize in this COVID pandemic, they're wanting you to use those funds first. So they're saying as of now again, they extended the other ones, but right now they're saying September 30th, 2021.
And based on our legislation, do we have to spend federal dollars before we spend state dollars, or I'm sure we can't commingle those, or is there any kind of regulations or rules on those?
With state funds, you have to spend them in that fiscal year. So by June 30th, every state dollar must be spent.
Okay.
With regards to your regular PRC 036. Now that COVID pot of money, they did extend it a little bit and allow us to transfer it into different pots of money. But your typical traditional 036 money, which is your charter school money, must be spent each fiscal year by June 30th.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
And Madam President, as a general rule, we spend our state dollars first, federal dollars second, and local dollars third in that priority order.
Okay. Thank you.
That's very good to know. Thank you, Mr. Hill, for outlining that, and thank you for this discussion, because from what I'm understanding, there may be some plans by districts to really look at what they can do to help with students' social and emotional learning as they've gone through the trauma of the pandemic and the economic crisis. And I was kind of wondering, have there been any preliminary thoughts to what we might want to spend our dollars on, or just get some general ideas?
So there are a couple of things that are coming down the pike. One is the state is redoubling its efforts to ensure every charter school and local school district has thought about and is developing their multi-tier system of support program. And so the multi-tiered system of support focuses on academic, behavioral, and social emotional learning. So one of the things that we're going to talk to the full board about, which we talked to the Academic Excellence Board about yesterday, is we're using a tool that the NC Department of Public Instruction developed to allow us to assess how well we're implementing our MTSS process. So that for each school, so there are literally 41 factors that you can use to assess and then provide guidance to how well you're implementing MTSS. And so as we go through each of those 41 factors, we'll figure out, whether we are emerging or excellent. And I'm sure we're going to be somewhere in between on each of those steps. And then we'll use those dollars to build our capacity, in terms of, well, do we have the right people on the bus? Do we need to provide training during the summer? Are there different programs that we can offer this summer? And you asked a question that I was going to address at the end of this conversation, which is I'm hoping next month and the month after to have a conversation with the committee about our upcoming budget, and talk to you about how the dollars have been spent this fiscal year and what we might do next fiscal year in line with the progress that we've made and some ideas that you as board members might have to help us think about some strategies and accomplishing some goals and objectives.
Great.
Thank you.
You're muted, Mr. Ray,
That's
Dr.
right.
Ray.
Man, I almost made it today without someone telling me I was muted. Are there any other questions? Point. I did have a question of just clarification, point of information. I guess that's what is the correct title. Point of information. So we were saying that we look like we're good with the budget with staffing. Do we think that we will get any more students for this semester, or are we kind of like locked and loaded, or are we losing students due to some of the school districts opening back up? So that was my question for you.
Mr.
And I think
Mullins.
that was going to Mr. Mullins. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mullins. That was directed to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. So we have lost some kids, but again, most of the ones we've lost since the last meeting were those 90 that graduated. We last year, our efforts were let's get the kids in because our enrollment was 500 below the cap. But our focus this year has been, since we've been above the cap, is kids that say are not active and doing the coursework. We're withdrawing those students because we're not doing them a favor by keeping them in our school if they're not going to do the coursework. So, over the last month, we have withdrew some kids that simply were not attending class and completing coursework. One of the good things I looked at, Dr. Ray, was, the 2,500 kids. We're still almost 300 kids above where we were last year at this time. And we've already got 500 over on our wait list with, here it is, mid-February. We have 500 wait list for the 21 school year. So our enrollment numbers are up, our wait list numbers are up. And so I think, we're in a good place this year, and I think we'll be in a better place again as we start the 21-22 school year. And we will, going back to your question about enrolling, we will have some circumstances where a student may move from out of state to North Carolina from a charter or whatever the situation may be. And we're looking at those on a case-by-case basis and allowing principals, if they feel that they can enroll a student, we're allowing that to take place. So even though we've had a deadline, there's some special circumstances we look at almost weekly and try to help kids do what's best for the kid.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes. Thank you. That definitely answered that question for you. Appreciate that. Are there any other questions? So let me look at the agenda. All right. So I feel like we're supposed to talk longer, but if there's no other questions, actually, this is taking care of our agenda for today.
Was there anything that Robin had to add with the budget stuff? Because she didn't talk very much. I just had a quick question on that.
Yeah, Robin.
No, as far as from last month, we did make several changes and updated various areas. And so this month it's kind of just been stagnant until we get additional funds. We had added additional positions and analyzed the lines. So I think right now there's not going to be any changes to present to the board, per se from the prior month's report.
Thank you. And this is not a financial question, but how are we looking? Have we heard anything about what testing is going to look like? I know that's probably a board overall question, but have we heard anything about what testing is going to look like coming up in May? And what that's going to look like with our budget on providing support?
So no, we have not received any additional
Okay.
guidance from the U.S. Department of Education or from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. So we are eagerly awaiting. I believe the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and State Board of Education have submitted a waiver to the U.S. Department of Education of the 95% participation rule. But, and, you know, you read in the press about, you know, what the Biden administration may or may not do. At the same time, the governor, as each of you probably has read, and the CDC have been pushing that, you know, kids, especially in K-5 and then increasingly in 6-8, should begin attending school again. That may have some implications in terms of, you know, the EOCs and EOGs being administered versus being waived.
Mhm.
So, you know, we're reading and have our ears to the ground and eyes to the sky, to listening and looking just as everyone else.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Yes, sir.
And I just saw that the Durham and Orange County schools are closed tomorrow. Are you guys operating under inclement weather, or does that affect us?
It won't affect us in Durham because the office is pretty much closed. I've asked anyone who comes into the office to talk to Mr. Mullins first. I asked everyone to work from home, you know, especially given what we've been hearing about the new COVID-19 variants.
Right. Okay. And I was just, so that doesn't really affect inclement weather then at all for our students. I didn't think it did, but I just wanted to, you know, question that.
I think that's it. I'm sorry.
But Madam President, you raise a really good question. I mean, a really good point, because sometimes what we find is there are instances when kids can't get online and they can't follow the curriculum, and so they may fall behind. And so, you know, we ask our principals and teachers to stay abreast of that so that, you know, we're supporting and treating the children fairly, you know, based on the circumstances.
Okay.
Exactly. And especially with this particular type of inclement weather, with there being an ice storm,
Right.
that could take the power out and things like that.
Right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, everyone that was here today. Definitely thank you all for joining. You know, I say effective and efficient. That's who we are. And I always give the quote of, you know, you can judge us based off of how we use our money. And so I appreciate everyone, and I think everyone is doing their due diligence and stewardship to make sure that we're using our money correctly to support the students that we are working with. So I thank you all. So at this time, if we could get we could move to make adjournment.
That's right. Adjournment. This is Jill. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
This is Audrey. I second.
Mr. Hill?
Leroy Ray,
Aye.
Joe Hammergren,
Aye.
Audrey Martin McCoy.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right. Well, everybody be safe. Yeah, with the weather. So everybody's getting ice except Charlotte, North Carolina. So I haven't seen no snow, no ice. So I don't know what that looks like. So everybody else be safe. Please be safe. So.
Y'all have a great evening.
All right.